Okay, so we're back for a quick video. This one will be a bit shorter because it just ran out of time on finishing up the symbolism of the mad dog, Tim Johnson. Okay, so try to piece it all together. You've been following the story. You've got Atticus as a hero here, shooting a mad dog and killing it with his skill. Okay, so the mad dog, you've got the disease, the madness kind of thing going on. You've got a kind of drunkenness and a dangerousness. He's a danger to the children. The children are at risk. That's why Calpurnia is kind of freaking out as well. And there's also the whole aspect that now the children are going to see Atticus differently after this event. Okay, we had the disease mention at the end of chapter 9. Okay, there was that mention of, remember, Maycomb's usual disease. And right before that mention, right before this scene, we have that mention of Maycomb's usual disease, which was racism. Okay, so here we have racism is being compared to a kind of madness. What's the real monster that is terrifying Maycomb County? The real monster in this southern Gothic is racism. And racism is a kind of a madness, like a disease that infects people and they go crazy. They can't think straight when it comes to issues of race. So the dog represents racism, but who is the one who is dangerous and racist and kind of diseased and crazy and drunken, that Atticus has to be the hero and defeat? Well, that's right, Bob Ewell. Bob Ewell is known for being drunk. He's suspiciously dangerous in the court case involving his daughter. Later they're called, white trash people. So who's the one that Atticus has to defeat with the law? Well, Bob Ewell. He has to prove he's the rapist. Okay, so the double meaning here is Tim Johnson represents racism. The madness and the disease represent racism, and those both find their connection in Bob Ewell. Now the question is Atticus going to be the hero who defeats racism, the mad dog? Okay, so in a way we have Atticus versus racism, because he's going to try to prove that Tom Robinson is not guilty. He's going to have some clear evidence for that. But is the law, okay, going to liberate from racism? Can it do that? Okay, so the gun that Atticus has, right, is the law. To kill, to tell the truth, really, and to destroy the power of lies and Bob Ewell and racism. Okay, so is Atticus's gun, so to speak, going to be strong enough to kill the mad dog, Bob Ewell? Last thing we want to point out about this is how Jem and Scout are changed from this experience of their dad. Okay. He stopped and picked up the glasses, ground the broken lenses to powder under his heel, and went to Mr. Tate, stood looking down at Tim Johnson. Doors opened one by one. Neighborhood slowly came alive. Miss Maudie walked down the steps with Miss Stephanie Crawford. Jem was paralyzed. I pinched him to get him moving, but when Atticus saw us coming, he called, "Stay where you are." Why is Jem paralyzed? He's shocked his dad was able to shoot that gun so well. He didn't know his dad could shoot a gun, let alone be better than the sheriff. When Mr. Tate and Atticus returned to the yard, Mr. Tate was smiling. "I'll have Zeebo collect him," he said. "You haven't forgot much, Mr. Finch. They say it never leaves you." Atticus was silent. "Atticus," said Jem. "Yes." "Nothing." "I saw that one shot, Finch." Atticus wheeled around and faced Miss Maudie. They looked at one another without saying anything. Atticus got into the sheriff's car. "Come here," he said to Jem. "Don't you go near that dog, you understand? Don't you go near him. He's just as dangerous dead as alive." "Yes, sir," said Jem. "Atticus?" "What's nothing." "What's the matter with you, boy? Can't you talk?" said Mr. Tate, grinning at Jem. "Didn't you know your daddy's—" "Hush, heck," said Atticus. "Let's go back to town." "Well, so what's going on? Why can't Jem talk?" "Well, he's shy and nervous, and he's a bit ashamed of himself because he thought his dad's so old and can't do anything. And meanwhile, they're asking him, 'Didn't you know your daddy's such a good shot? He's famous, right? He has even a nickname, One Shot Finch.' So he's a famous shooter. He's really good at shooting guns, right? But he doesn't shoot anymore. So he's anti-violence in a way, anti-gun. He's not a fan of guns anymore." Well, they are going back now, and they finally sort of wake up to what happened, and Jem became vaguely articulate. "Did you see him, Scout? Did you see him just standing there? All of a sudden he relaxed all over, and it looked like that gun was a part of him, and he did it so quick, like I have to aim for 10 minutes before I can hit something." Miss Maudie grinned wickedly. "Well now, Miss Jean Louise," she said, "still think your father can't do anything? Still ashamed of him?" "No," I said meekly. "Forgot to tell you the other day that besides playing the Jew's harp, Atticus Finch was the deadest shot in Maycomb County in his time." "Dead shot," echoed Jem. "That's what I said, Jem Finch. Guess you'll change your tune now. The very idea. Didn't you know his nickname was Old One Shot when he was a boy? Well, why, down at the landing when he was coming up, if he shot 15 times and hit 14 doves, he'd complain about wasting ammunition." All right, so this is all a key kind of event. Going back to our Bildungsroman, which you'll remember is a fancy way of saying building novel. And what are we building? We're building a person. In this case, Scout and Jem, okay, are maturing and seeing Atticus more fully. They're just kids, right? They don't know the adult world. They don't know Atticus's history, his experiences, and all of that. And they had all these false conceptions, false ideas about Atticus. And these start to be destroyed as they grow up. They can be about people, right? They can be about society. They can be about themselves, right? Culture, etc. And those mature and change. And so this is a key moment of change, especially for Jem. Jem is more aware than Scout. So that's it. When we come back, we'll just hit a couple things quickly in chapters 11 and 12. We won't spend as much time on those. Hopefully I can get it down in one video for you. But there you have it, the double symbolism of the Mad Dog and the key moment for Jem and Scout growing up, seeing their dad in a new light.